Hello, this is Nate Woodbury and welcome to the topic Brainstorm form. It's very important that you watch this video before proceeding to the next page and filling out the form. The goal here is to give us a real big jump start as we're going to do some keyword research for you. The keyword research process that we go through is quite intense. So after watching this video, and only after, you'll proceed to the next screen that's going to look something like this. And what we're going to do in this video is explain exactly what we're going for here and here. Now, if the form looks a little bit different, that just means that after recording this video, we've updated it and made it even better. But this is what the form looks like now. And whatever field is up here on the top, when we say specify your subtopic, we also call this the stem, and I'll explain what that means. And then the example questions down here we call the leaves. And so we might incorporate that terminology into the form in the future and actually have it say stem and leaves in here just to really help explain what we're going for here. And one other thing that I want to illustrate first, or just kind of paint the whole picture of, is the purpose behind all of this and why we go into such great detail and great effort on step number 1 of keyword research. The whole process that we're doing here, it really does lead to magnetic traffic and building a huge online following. It works every single time without fail. The reason I'm so confident in saying that is because we are working with the search engines and you know, the internet, the way that the internet and search engines were built. If we put so much effort into fighting against them, that's one story. But if we do everything we can to work with them and provide the search engines exactly what they want, then we're naturally going to start getting magnetic traffic, as well as if we provide people what they are searching for online and we position ourselves as the expert, then we naturally build a huge online following. And so it makes it really easy to do steps 2 through 10 if we do a really good job at step 1, keyword research. So I'm not going to go into all the details of the 10 steps here. The main purpose of this video is so that we can do keyword research for you. You're going to help us with the first part of that. And let me explain what I mean by that topic tree. We talked about stems and leaves, okay? So if we think of a tree, the base of the tree, you've got a big thick trunk, right? And then branching off of that are big branches leading to small branches, eventually to the little small stems that have leaves at the end of them. So, you know, that's the type of tree that I'm picturing here. So think of that, how trunks are kind of if we think of it from a topic standpoint, the trunk of that topic is kind of the broad topic, leading all the way to the very, very, very niche topics are the leaves. And so what we need you to help us do is narrow down to the stems and the leaves. So as you fill out the form, these sample questions down here, and we'll explain what we mean by good examples and bad examples or topics you would not want to train on. These are the leaves, and then this is the stem. And so I'm going to show you what I mean by that in example. I'm going to show you 2 thorough examples. All right, let's jump right in here. For this example, I'm going to start with the trunk of health and wellness, okay? Now we could take that broad category of health and wellness and we can break that into several different subcategories or subtopics. And there's many others that we could list here, but we could talk about exercise or sleep or mental health, nutrition, obviously lots of huge subtopics. So these are still pretty big topics in and of themselves. So if we were to take the subtopic of exercise, that can be broken down into lots of subtopics as well. We could talk about strength training or cardio. That one should say other there. There we go, the magic of video, and I just changed that word to other. I mean, you could go into gender. There's lots of different things that you could talk about in exercise and breaking that down into subcategories. Well, if we took one of those, cardio, and we broke that down, we could break that into lots of different subcategories. We could talk about running or biking or swimming or, a whole slew of different types of sports. So I'll just say more, okay? Now, I love biking, and specifically I like mountain biking. So you can talk about road biking or mountain biking or winter biking or lots of other different types of biking. So now let's break down what are some subcategories in the subcategory of mountain biking. Well, we could talk about mountain bike repair, different types of bikes, maybe the brands or the styles or, different configurations. We could talk about mountain biking trails or different gear. There'd be dozens of different additional topics that we could talk about that were subtopics of mountain biking. All right, so now what if we talk about trails? There's going to be a lot of different subcategories of trails. So we could talk about, now one of my favorite places to go is Corner Canyon in Draper, Utah. So we could talk about trails in Corner Canyon, Utah, or Corner Canyon, Draper, Utah, or in Moab, Utah, or American Fork Canyon is another place nearby me. There's hundreds of more, we could just think about all the locations anywhere. The types of trails, the, different seasons. So now if we broke down subtopics of Corner Canyon, this is where we're starting to get into the leaves. So we started with the trunk, we started to get into bigger branches, smaller branches, eventually we got into stems, and now we're talking about the leaves. The beginner trails in Draper Corner Canyon, or best downhill trail in Draper Corner Canyon, the longest trail in Draper Corner Canyon. We could think of dozens of very niche subtopic topics. Now, when we do keyword research, this is what we're going to determine for you. We're going to find the exact questions, topics, informations that we can create these positioning videos about. All right? So we're going to determine that for you. What we need you to do in this topic brainstorm is give us examples in this region, the stems, okay, as specific as you can get them. But without worrying about the exact way that they're phrased. We will find the exact way that they're phrased on Google. This isn't just some nitpicky process that we want to, make it hard. We'll take care of the real difficult part. We just need to know what areas do you have expertise in. And, there's plenty of topics about trails or, American Fork Canyon. There's plenty of topics that somebody in this niche would be great at talking about and an expert at, and there's plenty of topics that this person would not be an expert at talking about or would not want to talk about. It wasn't part of their program. Okay, so let me just come back to this, the form here. We're going to have you specify the subtopic. This means we're going to have you specify the stem. So in this example, you would specify, Corner Canyon, Utah trails, and then in these first 6 fields right here, you'd give us 6 good examples of the leaves, but you don't need to really worry about the wording and how it's worded there. Just give us some good examples just so we know we're going in the right direction, and some examples that you would not want to train on. So going back to this image here, these 3 up here might be great examples of topics, so these would be the leaves that you'd fill out in the form. Just give us some examples there that are good. Maybe a bad example would be how they make the trails in Corner Canyon in Draper, because they're actively making new trails each year. And I am curious about that. I've always wondered, who are these people? What machinery do they use? And I guess I have seen some of that, but that's a topic that somebody could talk about. But if somebody was more of an expert on, telling you where all the good trails are, they might not want to make a video about how they make those trails. And so that would be a good example to put down here is, how they make the trails in Corner Canyon. Just, because as we do our keyword research, there might be people that are asking for these very niche subtopics. I mean, when we have the ability to search, to get data from all searches on Google around the entire globe. And so, even if only one person searches for that phrase in an entire month, we're going to find those phrases, and then we're going to group them into categories. Anyway, we go through a long process to find what are the best ones. Doing it this way, it allows us to when we do the broadcast of these pages, we can get these pages ranked on Google within sometimes just a couple of days to a couple of weeks. I mean, that's light years ahead of the 6 months to 2 years time frame, and that's a lot of times that's wishful thinking. The type of SEO that we're doing is so totally different and so much better that if we start with really, really good keyword research, we can, we've had this happen many times as often or as short of a time frame as just 2 days. All right, so that's why we're spending time on this video here. And, here's one example. I want to give you a complete second example. So let's say we want to focus on the subtopic of nutrition. There's going to be a lot of subcategories in there, whether we talk about the diet, different foods, We can base nutrition on age or gender. So let's just pick the broad category of food. We could talk about shopping for food, or gardening, or recipes, or food facts. So there's lots of different things there. Let's even break it down further with recipes, thinking about food as ingredients. So, I mean, we could list hundreds and hundreds of subtopics under recipes here, whether it's vegetables or sweeteners or cooking. I just picked kind of 3 random ones that fit in recipes, I guess. Let's go deeper underneath sweeteners. We can talk about calorie-free sweeteners. We could talk about the glycemic index of different sweeteners, which ones are healthy, which ones are natural, which ones are artificial. All right, so let's use natural, and we could break that down. We could talk about different natural sweeteners such as honey or dates or agave or raw cane. And if we took agave even deeper, we could talk about agave versus honey, or how to extract agave nectar, or the benefits of agave. So in this example of this topic tree, the stems are going to be down here, talking about raw cane or agave or dates or honey. As we get more broad, that's when we get into the smaller and larger branches, and even down into the trunk region. Okay. So as with this second example, comparing it to this form here, what's going to fit up here? The specifier subtopic, that's where we want the stem. So that's going to be somewhere down in here, possibly in this row right here, like calorie-free sweeteners, or it might be we might have a whole subtopic we want to talk about agave, or a whole topic about honey. And then so what you would do is you'd put honey right here, and then you'd list some good examples of questions that you are an expert at answering, or topics that you're an expert at answering, such as the benefits of honey, or honey versus agave, or honey versus anything else, or some examples of topics that you may or may not, just list the ones down here that you are not wanting to make a training video on. That would be something like how to raise honeybees, or I don't know the exact terminology to use there, if raise is the best word, but how to start a beehive colony, or how to filter the bee body parts out of honey. You might not want to talk about those things if you're just talking about it from a nutrition point of view. Another person might want to talk about raising honeybees as a hobby, and so you're not going to really talk about the difference between honey and agave, so that's what we need to know. Is there's so many different niches that we could go into, and so as you do a topic brainstorm, just give us something really specific, and then we can do the keyword research and find what people are actually searching for. And the more you can guide us with good and bad examples, the better we're going to pick topics and find topics that relate to you and to the audience that you want to attract online. Now, if I can just say a couple more things about this, just to really emphasize how much work we go through for keyword research. If this is done right, if you do the topic brainstorm and fill out this form correctly, like I'm asking you here, then, well, let me say one other thing. Most of our coaching clients will typically we'll do a campaign of 50 videos and 50 viral content pages. And so the keyword research for that, we need to come up with 50 very specific topics. And roughly on average, that takes, if this is done right, then that takes us about 50 hours just on the keyword research to go through this. And so that's a lot of work. And again, that's if it's done right. If it's not done right, if when this form is filled out, that instead of giving us the stems and the leaves, stems are the subtopics and the leaves are just kind of examples, and we'll really fine tune and tell you exactly which leaves you should use. Instead, if you give us big branches or small branches type topics, then the time frame it takes us on this keyword research can be in the 100 to 200 hour range. And so that's the purpose of this video, is we've gotten really good at just, using analogies like this to say, these are the type of topics that we really need, and these are the examples that we really need here, because it's a lot of work, and narrowing it down to 50 hours is a lot better than 1 or 200 hours just for this one step. So it's very, very important. We're going to do it, and if you do the topic brainstorm correctly, it'll really help. And you will come back and you're going to use this form many, many times. So we'll do, you'll do one topic brainstorm now, and that'll come back with, a small handful of topics. So you'll be able to make those videos. For our coaching clients that are going to be creating, a campaign of 50 videos in a campaign, we might do that over 3 or 6 months. You're going to come back maybe every week or every couple weeks and do another topic brainstorm, so we could do the keyword research to come up with another handful of very specific video topics for you. Now, this topic tree was shown to you to kind of explain what we're going for. There is really no need for you to do a topic tree. You're more than welcome to do that for yourself, but there's no need for you to do that and provide it to us. That will not help us to do a topic tree. You can do a topic tree on your own. It would probably be helpful for you. And then what we need from you is simply just to fill out the form, and having a topic tree would benefit you. And the next time you're going to fill out the topic brainstorm form, you'll be able to kind of know, okay, well, I'm going to focus on Corner Canyon right now. And then, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to focus on Moab, then American Fork, and then rock cane sugar, and then agave, and then dates, and then honey. So it could kind of help you organize and put together a strategy. And so we're like, all right, let's do another topic brainstorm. You can open up your topic tree. But saying that, don't stress about it. You don't even need to. You could skip all these bottom portions of the tree, because just think, what are some very niche subtopics that you would like to make training videos about? And then think in your mind, is this topic more of a big branch or a small branch, or is it actually a stem? How could I break this category down into smaller subtopics? Then when you come and fill out that form, make sure that the subtopic that's listed right here is definitely a stem. We don't want any small branches, or definitely not any large branches. Only stems go here, and only just guesses, kind of guesses of what you think good examples of leaves might be there, just to guide us in the right direction, and topics that you would not want to train on listed there. And then you simply hit next, put your name and email and website, whatnot, your PIN number, and we're good to go. This process is very, very worth it. And we'll do the hard work, all the steps along the way, but you're the expert here. And so that's why we're heavily involving you in this process, having you do the topic brainstorm. That's why you're going to be in the video, and we're going to have you, polish some of the stuff that once we create it on the viral content page, and it is going to be broadcast through your networks and stuff like that. So you're going to be heavily involved, because it's you that's being positioned as the expert here. Any way that we can step in and do the work for you, that's obviously what we're here for. So we're going to do the heavy lifting and the real technical lifting of keyword research. And then one last side note that I'll say about keyword research, I do have a keyword research training program that if you want to learn how we do the in-depth keyword research, I have a training program to teach you exactly the steps that we follow to do that. It's very, very thorough. It works very, very well. But as one of our coaching clients, that is not required. You will simply just fill out the topic brainstorm form. Have a wonderful day.